WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert is about to end DiJonai Carrington's career, and it happened right after she went after Caitlyn Clark. We're talking a permanent ban, not a fine, not a one-game suspension. This is the commissioner finally getting pushed into a corner she can't talk her way out of. Sophie Cunningham is furious. Reebok already walked away from Carrington's contract, and the league is staring at a decision that could change how the WNBA handles dirty players forever. Stick around, because the pattern that got us here goes years, and it's worse than you remember. Do you think banning Carrington is the right decision? Let me know down in the comments below.
Dirtbag, DiJonai, clout chaser, Carrington. Careful what you wish for, DiJonai. Be careful what you wish for. You're the one that circled 8/23 on the calendar. You're the one who tweeted out 8/23 as if it was some date we all should pay attention to. And people paid attention and saw you. Ooh, you had a bad game. Oh, but 8/23. Fair. Caitlyn Clark makes 8 3-pointers. The Indiana Fever win by 23 points. Great foresight on your end, DiJonai Carrington.
Let's talk about what actually happened on August 23rd, because the numbers from that game are one story, but this collision is a whole different one. Indiana is up big, Chicago's season is basically slipping away, and Carrington closes out on Caitlyn Clark in a way that looks nothing like normal defense. This isn't a hand contest or a shoulder brush. Carrington gets into Clark's space, claws her in the arm, and stays right there staring her down after the play, the kind of look that says this isn't about the ball anymore.
We got DiJonai Carrington once again. I mean, like, she just can't get out of her own way at this point, huh? From raking people across the head, playing victim, saying white privilege, wearing a blonde wig at that, right? Going on your phone, breaking league policy, facing no punishment, showing black privilege in this league, going at the white girl once again on August 23rd. Although it was your funeral last night, Caitlyn Clark led your funeral. I enjoyed watching your funeral last night. It was pretty fun. But DiJonai Carrington, once again, more stuff just keeps coming out. She's bumping Caitlyn Clark in the chest, staring Caitlyn Clark down in the game.
Run the replay back and you can see the point of contact clear as day. Carrington's driving into Clark instead of moving laterally with her. Refs on the floor watch the whole thing and swallow the whistle. No flagrant call, no real conversation between officials, just a play on and a crowd that can't believe what it just saw. Fans immediately point out that Clark has taken hit after hit all season with almost nothing called, and this play lands right in that same bucket. The broadcast cuts to Clark grabbing at her arm, and the Fever bench is up before the ball even crosses half court.
Just play basketball. Like, why it's always got to be something with the same repeated offenders, man? Like, it's always like the less talented out of the group, right? The less talented ones always focus on everything but basketball. The ones that's talented, you know what they focus on? Putting the ball in the hoop. The ones that's less focused, that's less talented, you know what they focus on? They focus on being violent.
Sophie Cunningham doesn't wait to see how the referees handle it. She's off the bench in a second, yelling straight at the officiating crew, arms out, asking how that doesn't get a whistle. Cunningham isn't just reacting to one play, she's reacting to a whole night of watching her point guard get hit and get nothing back from the referees. And Clark's answer is ice cold. She steps into a 3 right in front of Carrington and waves her off after it drops. No words needed, just a bucket to shut down the moment.
All that huffing and puffing just to come out here and get embarrassed. Like, let's just start right here, man. Let's start right here. Why is DiJonai poking the bear? Look at her. Once again, trying to create her moment. Look at her. Why you keep acting like I'm fouling you? Look, and then she's all in the ref face, spitting on him. Look at this. Somebody give her the t-shirt, man. Give her the tech. Give her the tech. Look at this. I'm not doing anything. I'm just guarding up. Okay. You want the smoke? Caitlyn gonna give it to you. You want the smoke? She's gonna give it to you.
Clips of the collision hit social media within minutes. And by the time the fourth quarter starts, the play is already everywhere on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every angle getting picked apart frame by frame. Indiana's crowd reacts like they just watched a foul that should have gotten someone tossed, booing every time Carrington touches the ball afterward. Chicago's bench sees a completely different game. Defenders nodding like the contact was earned, Like Clark needed to feel that kind of physicality. 2 benches, 1 play, and neither side agreeing on what they just watched. This is the moment league conversation stops being about a fine and starts being about whether Carrington should play against Clark again at all. Before August 23rd, people talked about warnings and technicals. After it, people start using the word ban out loud, and not as an exaggeration. And this isn't the first time Carrington's done something like this to a player in a Fever jersey. The last time, it wasn't Clark on the other end of it, and what happened then was worse than a missed whistle.
The game that DiJonai Carrington had circled on her calendar and wanted the world to see happened tonight. And how did it turn out? Caitlyn Clark had 37 points, 10 assists, 8 threes, and we got this lovely reaction. But I want to point out something that happened in the game. Some of the Chicago Sky, including DiJonai Carrington, to me, were looking for a fight this game. And Caitlyn, instead of talking about it in the media, just did it with her basketball skills.
Rewind to the first Fever Sky meeting, before any of this rematch talk started, because that's where the real problem began. Carrington closes out on Sophie Cunningham, and instead of playing the ball, her arm swings straight across Cunningham's neck, a clean clothesline that drops Cunningham to the floor. Officials don't need a review for this one. The ejection comes fast, and Carrington walks to the locker room while Cunningham gets checked out on the sideline. The league reviews the play afterward and lands on a suspension, calling it a flagrant with intent, which sounds serious until you realize how short the punishment actually turns out to be. Carrington's pre-game comments before the rematch are where things get worse, not better. On August 8th, she teases revenge on social media, the kind of comment that reads like a warning shot to anyone paying attention to the Fever Sky series. Post-game, after the ejection, she doesn't apologize or explain the contact. Instead, she posts about white privilege, pointing at the reaction to her ejection as proof of bias against her instead of addressing the hit itself. That post is what flips the entire conversation. Instead of talking about a dangerous foul on a defenseless player, people start arguing about race, media coverage, and who gets protected in this league. Some fans and analysts think Carrington's calling out something real in how these incidents get covered. Others think she's using a bigger issue to dodge responsibility for putting her arm across someone's throat. Both sides dig in, and the actual foul, the one that could have seriously hurt Cunningham, gets buried under the argument about the post.
You look childish and corny, then going down, shoulder bumping. Like, that's weird, bro. That is weird. And we gotta start calling things for what they is. They're weird. People that do this is weird. Weirdos. That's just the truth. And this is what BLACK privilege looks like. You able to mock somebody and get away with it, and then come down and bump somebody intentionally and get away with it. Can you imagine if Caitlyn would have did the same thing to somebody? Oh, y'all would have been having a fit.
This is the incident people go back to when they talk about a pattern now. Not because it's the only bad play Carrington's had, but because it's the first time the league had to actually eject her and hand out real discipline for something this violent. It's the moment that turns aggressive defender into player the league needs to watch. And it's exactly why Cunningham comes off that bench so fast on August 23rd. She's not reacting to one hit on Clark, she's reacting to a player who already put hands on her, teased revenge in public, and then delivered exactly what she promised. Line it up and it's not 3 separate stories. The clothesline, the revenge comment, and the collision with Clark happen in that order for a reason, each one building on the last instead of standing alone. Carrington doesn't just have a bad night in August, she has a stretch of behavior that connects from one game to the next, visible to anyone watching closely. And the pattern goes back even further than the clothesline. Earlier in the season, there are flagrant fouls that barely got any coverage at all, plays that look just as bad on film but never got this kind of attention.
is actually black privilege, because she knows the WNBA won't do a single thing of significance about it. And imagine if the roles were reversed. If Sophie made a comment similar to this, then she'd likely never play again. And actually, we just saw this from Coach Sandy Brondello. She got disciplined for making, I believe, a pretty innocent, maybe, offhand comment about talking about Angel Reese and saying that she's a protected species. She was suspended and disciplined. And I think if that's the standard, then DiJonai should be too.
I think. How many flagrant fouls does it take before aggressive defense turns into something else entirely? Because Carrington's 2025 season has more than enough of them before Cunningham ever hit the floor and before Clark ever grabbed her arm. Go back through the year game by game, and you find a stretch of hard fouls that never got the kind of coverage this one's getting, mostly because they didn't happen to the two most watched players in the league.
As everyone else is seeing this angle, I'm calling her in and I'm saying to her, I need answers.
Rewind to last year and you'll see many receipts. Carrington catches a shooter midair on a closeout and undercuts her landing space, the kind of play that draws an automatic flagrant in most situations. That one gets reviewed and upgraded after the fact, which tells you the on-court crew missed it in real time. A few weeks later, she throws a forearm into a driving guard's chest well after the shot's already gone up, and that play gets called a common foul. No review, no second look. Same player, similar contact, two completely different outcomes from the people whose whole job is consistency.
There was a little wind up there and there was some follow through. This will probably get upgraded. Now Carrington was trying to make a play on the ball, but by rule, the wind up and follow through are trigger signals for the officials that this will likely get upgraded.
Absolutely dirty, reckless abandon.
That's where fans start losing patience with the whole review process. Some plays get sent to the league office and come back upgraded, others get ignored completely, and there's no clear pattern for which ones get picked. Fans reading that inconsistency split into two camps. One group thinks Carrington's getting protected by referees who don't want the conflict. The other thinks the replay center itself is broken and can't apply the same standard twice in a row. That distinction actually matters, because one version means a Carrington problem, and the other means a league-wide officiating problem that just happens to show up around her the most.
Basically reached around Shepard's body, but the fact that she went for the basketball and for the block really
It's a basketball
is
play.
yeah, it is, and she ends up getting Shepard in the face, the nose. I don't know which takes precedent. Oh, see, it's the hit the ball and then it's the pull back. They're showing it on the Jumbotron at a different angle that sort of looked like, watch after Carrington goes for the block, watch her pull back right here. And that's the part that I don't know if you separate that. Do you separate that?
Look at the missed calls specifically, and it gets worse. There's a play against a Liberty guard where Carrington's arm wraps across the shoulder on a drive, no whistle at all, and replay afterward makes it look like an obvious flagrant that just got played through live. Every one of these plays adds a little more weight on the league office, whether Engelbert wants to admit it publicly or not. A missed call in June looks like a one-off. 3 or 4 of them by August start looking like a policy failure. And that's exactly the kind of pressure that builds quietly until something forces it into the open. Carrington's season isn't a handful of unlucky bounces. It's a documented stretch of plays that repeat the same pattern over and over. And that pattern is exactly why sponsors started backing away long before the league office made any kind of move at all.
That was adaptable. That's going to be on a highlight reel.
And then we've got a foul. I think it's going to be on DiJonai Carrington. Whoa! If she would have had extensions, it would have come off.
Somewhere in the middle of all this, people checking Carrington's endorsement page notice something missing. Reebok's logo is gone. No announcement video, no farewell post, just a quiet removal that tells you everything about how fast a brand can walk away when it wants to. Before any of this, Reebok had Carrington under a deal that mattered for her off-court money. The kind of shoe and apparel partnership that WNBA players count on since league salaries alone don't pay like the NBA. Losing that deal isn't just bad press, it's real income gone. Line up the timeline and it moves fast. The clothesline happens, the ejection follows right after. Then, the white privilege post spreads across social media and splits everyone into two camps arguing about bias instead of the foul itself. Reebok makes its move only after watching that whole story play out in public. And termination announcements like this don't happen on instinct. They happen after lawyers and marketing teams sit in a room and decide the risk isn't worth it anymore.
Reebok is reportedly dropping their endorsement for DiJonai Carrington after she attacked Sophie Cunningham. Let's go.
Brands cut ties fast in situations like this because their own name is on the line every time a player's face shows up on a shoebox. Reebok doesn't want its brand tied to a moment fans are calling dirty, dangerous, or worse, and staying quiet would have looked like an endorsement of the behavior itself. Shaquille O'Neal's rant about the play didn't help either, because when a name that big goes off on national television about your conduct, every brand watching takes notice. And that clip alone probably cost Carrington more than the play did.
DiJonai Carrington is looking around the room like, oh my God, I've never been in this much fire. I mean, it's getting so bad that now her endorsements are potentially about to pull out on representing DiJonai Carrington.
Sponsor money and league money aren't separate conversations. They're the same conversation. Engelbert answers to broadcast partners just as much as she answers to players. And when sponsors start pulling back, that pressure lands directly on the commissioner's desk. A permanent ban isn't something Engelbert can just announce on a whim. It requires a formal review process through the league office, input from the Players Association, and a level of documented conduct that WNBA history barely has any precedent for. Suspensions happen a handful of times a season for flagrant fouls or ejections, but a ban that ends a career is a different category entirely, and fans keep mixing the two terms up online without realizing how far apart they actually are.
Don't pass go straight to jail. This is assault, right? This is assault. Now let me tell you something. This is assault. She needs to go to jail. Premeditated. Go to jail. Go to jail. She needs to be arrested. Go to jail. I want her in jail. I want her in jail. She should never touch her. Nah, can't do it. All right, we already know the WNBA is in a position right now. You need to make an example of that, Don Imus.
Reebok's exit and the August 23rd collision with Clark are the two things that finally put Engelbert in a corner. One shows the business world already made its decision. The other shows the on-court conduct hasn't changed at all since the clothesline. Put those together and the pressure isn't coming from one direction anymore. It's coming from sponsors, fans, and now the league's own conduct review all at the same time. And while all of this noise built up around Carrington off the court, Clark spent that same night quietly putting up one of the best performances of her season. While the whole league argued about one foul, Clark spent that night quietly torching the Sky's defense like the hit never happened. Final box score, 37 points, 10 assists, and a career-high 8 threes, all in the exact game where she took a shot to the arm that had everyone talking about bans and suspensions. She doesn't sit with it, doesn't complain to the refs after every possession. She just keeps shooting and keeps finding teammates like nothing happened.
And I don't think people give CC enough credit for what she's added to her offensive arsenal. And that she still found a way to get her teammates the ball. She was out there dishing. Like I'm talking about, she found Michaela Timpson, all type of passes to Lexi Hall, Kelsey Mitchell, Monique Billings. Everybody eats when Caitlyn Clark is running the show. She keeps everybody involved. Don't you realize anytime these haters come out with these wild takes about Caitlyn Clark, she just comes out and proves them wrong?
Watch the second half specifically, and you see her answer physical defense with buckets instead of words. Chicago sends extra bodies at her on switches, bumps her off screens, and Clark just pulls up from 4 feet behind the line anyway, splashing threes right in front of defenders who thought they'd bothered her. There's a stretch in the third quarter where she scores 8 straight points for Indiana, each one coming right after a hard contest, like she's answering every hand check with a shot instead of a whistle request.
Intention for Chicago to get it inside. Clark splits the defense, hangs and scores! Clark
tees it up. 2-3. Clark, another step back three. Yes. Clark creates space just to Caitlyn Clark off the dribble. Like that, but she wants everyone to know it's not why she plays. She's trying to, deep from like Michigan. Clark goes for 30 and done.
From a lot of different areas.
Reading what the defense gives her. A new career high from the outside.
Final score, 113-90, and it never really feels that close once Indiana's role players start hitting shots too. Chicago's physical approach backfires the moment the scoreboard gets out of hand, because all that contact doesn't slow Clark down. It just gives Indiana free throws and extra motivation. The Sky came into this game needing a statement to keep playoff hopes alive, and instead they hand Indiana its biggest margin of the season while eliminating themselves from postseason contention in the same night. Physical basketball works when it changes the score. This didn't change anything except how angry Chicago's bench looked by the fourth quarter.
Russ Mitchell, Caitlyn Clark, both putting up 30. Clark off the dribble, cold-blooded. Look at the extension on that one. She heard it inside. Clark splits the defense, hangs and scores. Kelsey Mitchell on target. Creates some space, and again, 6 triples. Just finding openings. If you're open, Clark will find you.
Clark's composure under that kind of contact says more about her than any single stat line could. She gets hit, she gets held, she gets bumped off her spot all game long, and her response every single time is another shot. Not a complaint to the officials. Compare that to Carrington's post-game reaction, still talking about bias and revenge instead of the game itself, and you see two players handling pressure in completely different ways. Cunningham, still fired up from arguing with officials earlier, turns that same energy into support once Indiana's lead grows, clapping every basket and yelling encouragement from the bench like the frustration finally found somewhere good to go. Performances like this are exactly why Fever fans already talk about 2026 like it's decided, MVP votes and championship banners included. And now the whole league waits on one answer. What happens to Carrington next? And what that decision means for every star she might guard after this. So strip away all the noise, the posts, the sponsor exits, and it comes down to one question. Does the league finally act on a pattern instead of one play? A permanent ban isn't punishment for a single foul, it's the WNBA admitting it saw this coming for months. For the 2026 playoffs, Indiana needs a healthy Clark, a deep roster that includes Boston, Mitchell, Hull, and Cunningham, and officiating that protects stars instead of just talking about it post-game. Engelbert's decision here tells everyone if this league actually protects its players. Do you think banning Carrington is the right decision? Let me know down in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications as we're bringing you all the action and top stories. Click the video on the screen and we'll see you in the next one.